And welcome to the Stan Simpson Show, a program about Connecticut people and compelling issues. Make it a point to drop in every week. It's been 1 year officially since Dan Malloy took office, the first Connecticut mayor to win the post in modern history. We'll take a look at his record with Christine Stuart of CTNewsJunkie.com and what's in store for 2012. In our second segment, we'll look at the significant education reforms Governor Malloy has in mind for this session coming up. Michael Sharp from the high-performing Jamoke Academy and Patrick Rickards from the education advocacy group ConCan stop in for a visit. Then we'll wrap things up, folks, with a look at the UConn men's and women's basketball teams and how they look 1 year after losing a major star from their rosters. Donald Morey and John Altavilla, who cover the men's and women's respectively for the Current, stop in for a chat. But first, it's 1 year and counting for the governor, Christine Stuart, CTNewsJunkie.com. I can't believe it's 1 year. It threw me when I figured out, you know what, it's been a year now.
He's weathered the storm.
So to speak, I
yeah,
like that.
no, literally.
Play on words, I like that, Christine. Storm being sort of the theme for his administration in year one, right?
Yeah, look, a year ago from today, from the taping of this show, it was two feet of snow fell on the state of Connecticut. So it was his first storm, his first, he was just 1 week in as governor, and he had to deal with weather, which seemed to be symbolic for the rest of what he had to deal with.
But very important, right? Weather seems sort of insignificant, but if you're a governor or a mayor, you better know how to handle it, because you can lose an election if you don't handle it right. Right,
and I think that his training as mayor prepared him for that. He said, I think in his first term of office as mayor, he had 100 inches of snow that year. So, but these were two very significant storms, and they really did cause some problems for the state. So,
was he too visible? There were times when, frankly, Christina, I'd go out and say, "Gee, is he on again?" Was he too much in his first year as governor, being on TV?
I think there are some people who, maybe the utilities would like to claim that, right. But he is. He's definitely out in front. He knows that, storm preparations, storm leadership can make or break a governor, and, he's looking for more emergency preparedness.
People want to see transparency, they want to see accessibility, they want to know you're on the case, right,
yes.
In the end game. So after year one, how would you, if you were to describe his management style, how would you describe it?
He's definitely somebody who is hands-on. He seems to have an answer for everything. He knows about everything that's going on in the administration, even if it's not his direct responsibility to handle those issues. So,
do some feel he's a micromanager? What are you hearing from folks who are outside of the circle there? What's the sense of those who see him?
I wouldn't say he's a micromanager, but he knows, I think, that he is probably going to be a one-term governor. So he's got, 4 years, now 3 years, to make his case and turn the state of Connecticut around.
Well, talking about that now, one-term governor, so you have intimated before, one of the first people to intimate that you think this guy has higher plans for higher office down the road. Why is there the feeling that he's a one-term governor?
I think just the way that the economy is, the hand that he's been dealt at this point in time, he actually has maintained, just in general, popularity amongst his colleagues and legislators at the Capitol, even though he's had to make some hard choices. Nothing has really come back to bite him, so to speak, or to damage his image. Well, the one thing he has in his favor, without question, that he runs the table as far as power. He's the governor, he's a Democrat. The Dems control the House and the Senate. I mean, it's an extraordinary time to be governor here because there's no one really to fight you on your policy. So how is that going to work for him? Right. Well, I mean, I think that the Democratic legislature saw firsthand what happens when they might disagree with the governor. Well, how so? Tell us, for those who aren't as plugged in as you are. There were some choice words used to describe the governor by one lawmaker in a closed-door caucus at one point when there was some frustration building over his desire to change the higher education system. And, there were some others who grumbled about some of the budget decisions that were made, and, they have a Democratic majority. They're used to being able to override or veto a governor because they've had Republican governors for the past 2 decades.
Right. So we say there's some grumbling. This is from the GOP, Republican Party. There's some grumbling, or from within
No,
his
from
caucus?
within the Democratic Party.
So what happens there? This is a good point. When there's some grumbling within his party, I get the perception from you that he takes out the paddle and does some paddling behind the scenes and puts them back in line. Is that fair to say, or what happens?
He does, or his administration does. And, you know, one lawmaker was brought to tears at one point over being put back into line.
Can some perceive that from your sources? Can he be a bully at times?
I would say that, yeah, bully would be probably an accurate word.
Yeah, during the debates, a lot of folks felt he was a bit abrasive. He's a former prosecutor, so that gear is still in there for him.
Right.
Could that hurt him? I mean, and you're a reporter, so you can't give commentary, but what are folks saying in your inner circle? Could that be something that over a 4-year period of time wears thin on people if indeed he has the ability to kind of bludgeon and or bully?
No, that could definitely wear on people, and I think that just his work ethic in and of itself has worn on some people. His whole staff was basically left. Well, that's whole staff, but you have his chief of staff, yes,
his assistant chief of staff, his PR director, all left after year one, sort of an extraordinary exodus of top-ranked people.
Right. And so, you know, I think that he is known for his work ethic, and he's going to continue to work his people, and it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and there is no stopping.
But, you know, the one thing he is doing, to give him credit, he is at least making efforts to create jobs. The example of NBC Sports coming to Stanford, the example of ESPN expanding, the Jackson Laboratory coming in. I mean, he's the one guy out there, whether you like it or not. Connecticut is putting itself on the map as moving the needle in trying to create jobs. How is that playing locally and nationally?
Well, he's beginning to see some feedback from private sector unions who are upset because Connecticut contractors, because these are competitive bids, aren't necessarily getting the construction money to do all of the work that is being paid for with taxpayer dollars.
So outside unions are getting it, not inside unions?
Not public sector unions, but private sector unions.
Unions are getting it, okay.
The construction workers that, you know, have an unemployment rate of about 40% right now are a little bit frustrated that they're not getting the work.
Piece of the pie.
Right, a piece of the pie.
So how do you suspect he'll handle that? Because he's known as a union guy, but that's also a legitimate concern, saying, listen, we need jobs too, and we're not in the unions, and we can do the work as well. Right.
You know, I think that he handles it along with the legislature and looking at what they can do to improve the amount of in-state labor that is working on these projects. And there's only so much they can do under the Constitution and the Commerce Clause. So one-term governor, if indeed he's a one-term, and that will kind of coincide with a second term for a president or a first term for a president, what would be next? And we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but if indeed he is a one-term guy, what's next for him? You know, it depends on, you know, who wins the presidential election. You know, possibly in 4 years, could he be part of, you know, another administration, you know, either some sort of maybe Commerce Secretary or something, some high administrative post. But the thing to note here, this is a very ambitious guy, which you've told us time and time again, and that we should keep an eye on that. Yeah, right? What's interesting is that his staff, every time we say that, you know, he looks like he's campaigning or running for higher office, or, you know, is president next, they're like, shut up, shut up. Well, if his staff keeps, you know, stay on board, right now they're leaving so they can keep whispering what they want, but right now, I think it's an interesting thing to note, though, that indeed, if down the road he's ambitious, that could bode well for Connecticut. If you have a guy who has designs to have higher office or a national platform, then he has to work extraordinarily hard to make a name for himself here. So that could work for Connecticut as well, if indeed that's his agenda. No, it definitely could. And he's been spending a lot of time in Washington trying to bring some dollars back to the state of Connecticut. All right, Christine Stuart, CTNewsJunkie.com. When we come back, folks, we'll talk with two education advocates about the major education reforms planned for Connecticut. You are watching The Stan Simpson Show. Remember, catch us 24/7 online, ctnow.com/Stan. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Don't go away.